I've got a Bill Sweeney update for you, and, well, unfortunately, I would say the update isn't that he has resigned and done the honourable thing. Him and Tom Elube, who's the RFU chairman, they are still in their position. And right now, as I record this, on December the 18th, there is an RFU emergency meeting going on right now where the RFU Council are getting together to ask questions and get some greater understanding of exactly what's going on. If you want a greater understanding of what's going on, this is my third video on the topic, hence this one is called Update 2 Bonus Boogaloo. If you want the full story on this, then I've got 2 videos in the feed already where I dive right into this and have done over the last few weeks since the scandal broke. And look, this might well cost me a spot in the media room in Twickenham for the upcoming Six Nations. If I get pied off by the media team, actually they're good folk. I can't imagine they would do that. We'll see. But I can't imagine I'm going to be pleasing people in the upper tiers at the RFU at the minute for continuing to beat the drum about this. But I'm going to continue beating the drum about this. And in fact, I've got some very personal experience connected to the running of the RFU, or poor running of the RFU, I would say. On a local level, I've got some personal experiences I want to share at the end of this video. But again, to get a full understanding of exactly what's going on, go and look at the previous videos. The update is that there is a meeting going on today. That's the RFU Council. And that was called by Rob Udwin, the RFU president. It's a little web I'm still trying to fully understand. The RFU president is Rob Udwin. He's called this meeting. Now, this is the same guy that initially called this scandal media clickbait, media spinning for clickbait. He thought it was just the media just desperately making a mountain out of a molehill to get some clicks and cash. And yet he's the one that called this meeting. I think he called this meeting, though, to try and take control of the fact that it was spinning out of control and becoming a big scandal. I honestly don't think Rob Udwin and the other people at the top of the RFU actually think there is a problem. We'll see whether the RFU Council agree. They've been fairly toothless in the past. When they've had the chance to get rid of Bill Sweeney last year, in fact, they decided not to. So I've got my misgivings about the RFU Council as well, which brings me on to the latest update. Previously, I mentioned that the RFU Championship, which is the second tier of English rugby, they have called for a vote of no confidence in the RFU executive, Bill Sweeney included. The update that's fresh is this one. The National 1 clubs, which is the third level down, they have said that they want some action. And in particular, they want what have they put it? A root and branch review. Now, the Championship club's funding's been hammered, and the same's gone for funding down the pyramid. Richmond, which is right next door to Twickenham, right on the same patch of southwest London, and one of the oldest rugby clubs in the land. They're also currently top of the league, unbeaten in National League 1 this season. And they have written a letter which has been co-signed by all of the other clubs in National League 1. And they have said, we're collectively calling for a root and branch review independent of the current RFU Council, Board and Executive. I've already mentioned that I have misgivings about all of them. And they've called for that root and branch review into the governance, setup and management of rugby in England. They want a wide-ranging review into how rugby is organised in the country, including understanding whether the governments of the national team and professional rugby needs to be fully split from the semi-pro and amateur game. Hallelujah, someone has said it. It's just common sense. It's, well, the RFU haven't shown they're the most competent bunch, and it's quite a hard job to manage the grassroots game and the elite level of the game all under the same roof. I don't quite get how that works. They have said, we believe change is required. I agree. And there have been major failures in governance and leadership. I agree. This, by the way, this could well cost me a spot in the media room at Twickenham for upcoming matches. Because I am a YouTube channel after all. I mean, I'd argue I get more views than many journalists who are in the media room, but I reckon I might get nudged out of this one for continuing to bang this drum. We'll wait and see about that one. Anyway, they said the RFU Council and Board are complicit in both the lack of accountability and, alongside the RFU leadership, the lack of clarity and strategy for the development of rugby in England. I could not agree with Richmond and the other National 1 clubs anymore. It's not just Bill Sweeney. It's not just Tommy Lube, the two guys at the top there. It is the whole RFU board, and it is the RFU Council. They have proven themselves to me not to be competent, not to be effective. I mean, the RFU Council had the chance to get rid of Bill Sweeney a year ago, and they didn't, which kind of makes you think a little bit. Oh yeah, there's this other story as well. This is another story that's added before I go too far down that route. The Times, Sunday Times, uncovered the fact that Taxpayers funded financial experts to help Bill Sweeney's RFU. So again, to recap, a record loss of £40 million. Bill Sweeney gets the biggest payout ever of anyone in his role. The government was so concerned by this. And I mean, think about how bad the government are at managing money. And they're looking at the RFU and going, that's a basket case. In fact, they described it as, well, they described, Member of Parliament Julian Knight said that Bill Sweeney was, quote, asleep on the job. And the government thought it was such a big issue at the RFU that they, at the taxpayers' expense, put 2 experts in at Twickenham to try and get control of the situation. And at the same time that the government are saying, oh, they're doing such a bad job, we need to pay people, we need to get the taxpayers to pay to get some people to try and sort that out. And at that same time, Bill Sweeney hits his performance targets for financial management of the RFU. I mean, it just beggars belief. Anyway, back to the National One clubs saying they need a full review into the way that rugby is managed top to bottom. I mean, that's just common sense. It looks more and more, with every bit of news and every element we get out of this story, it looks more and more like Will Carling back in 1995 might have been absolutely on the money. Anyway, like I say, I'm not winning any friends at the RFU myself with this one, am I? But I feel passionately about this. I really do. I care. I care a lot. That's why I have this channel, because I want rugby to thrive, and I want to have as many people enjoy it as possible. I want to celebrate all the great things about it, and I don't take any pleasure in having to make videos like this. I'd much rather be talking about what a wonderful job is being done. But here's the thing, right? I've already said Bill Sweeney at the top, Tommy Lube, the chairman, they've both got to go. The board, presumably they're the ones that signed off these financial targets. They've got to, I mean, they're clearly not doing a very good job. They're not competent. Whoever's behind the remuneration panel and agreed these bonuses, they need to go, because they haven't got a clue what's going on. The RFU Council, I don't think, is working and fit for purpose. And bringing this right down to a local level, and just to demonstrate the Championship club's point, that this is top to bottom, there is an issue. I am involved in coaching, well, was involved in coaching 2 teams. I coach a university team in Manchester, and for years I have coached at my local club. I only do one of those coaching roles right now, and I've seen the impact of the way that rugby is run on a local level having a massive impact. So this is the team at Broughton Park Rugby Club in South Manchester, just near where I live. And these lads, it's my son's team, they won the Lancashire Cup. They were the best team in the northwest, or Lancashire anyway, which is a massive county, really, really good rugby county. And they won the cup. And this was several years of hard work by the lads, because I think 1 or 2 of the guys in the squad played rugby at school. Most of them, their introduction and their only place that they played rugby was at our club. In Manchester, if you want to play rugby, you basically have to pay to go to school. You have to go to a private school to play rugby. Lads from inner city state schools, they don't play rugby unless they come to our club. So we were kind of the underdogs, and the boys managed to win the Lancashire Cup. An amazing day, great memories for them. We absolutely loved it as parents as well. Sad to say, this team is not playing this year. There wasn't enough lads that could, and there's a number of reasons for that. And some of it bubbles down to the management of rugby on a local level. I said I was going to take this right down to sort of personal level, but I think the reason I'm mentioning this is to illustrate the fact that what's going wrong at the top is also going wrong at the bottom. So, in Manchester, funnily enough, football's quite big. And this is a rugby league patch as well. And so we have massive competition for the lads attention and time with other sports. And one of the things that was happening was when we were having matches against other clubs, the lads were going off and playing rugby league, playing football, because our games are only friendly games. It's the way it goes in rugby, isn't it? It's just friendly. We had the cup, and the lads would all turn out for the cup matches. But when it wasn't cup matches and it was just a friendly, they would go and play other sports. So we hatched a plan to create a league in Manchester with some of the other clubs. And there was 8 other clubs in the local area that we said, let's create a competition that makes some of our fixtures really meaningful. And then also, it will stop losing our lads every other week because they're like, oh, this is only a friendly. I'm going to go and play in a league match for my rugby league team, or that our football's in a league. All other sports are in a league structure except for rugby union. So we tried to create a league with 8 clubs who were all on board and loved the idea and had similar problems themselves. What happened? The Lancashire Rugby Union said, absolutely not. You're not allowed to. We're not signing that off. No, 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 no. They just said no. Why they said no was because they wanted to protect the prestige of their Lancashire Cup, I believe. I mean, I don't really know. I never got a satisfactory answer as to why they said no. But they said no because they knew best. And it was that's not how we do it. That's not how it's always been done. They didn't want to listen to the people at the grassroots level explaining, here's the problems we're facing and here's the solution we've come to try and keep a bunch of lads together and enjoying the sport of rugby. They wouldn't do it. That contributed to the fact that this team, whilst they were the best team in Lancashire last year, aren't playing together this year. One of the other issues is there wasn't a team in the age group above to play with at Colts level. Anyway, that's by the by. The other thing, and this one really, really still stings this. So there are some people at grassroots level in rugby doing amazing things. The Star Scheme would be one of them. And I really appreciate it if you're still watching this video, by the way, because this isn't about Bill Sweeney and it might be getting a bit boring, but hopefully it's sort of painting a bigger picture about rugby. The Star Scheme is there for people in underprivileged, at risk, difficult circumstances. It's giving them a route to a better life by involving them in grassroots rugby. And there was a lad who came along to our team who'd never played rugby before. His school doesn't play rugby. He'd had some troubles growing up. That happens when you live in Manchester, like in inner city Manchester, you get lads like this. He loved rugby. He got funding through the Star Scheme for a taxi to and from training every week and to and from games every week. He was always the first one at training. He lit up, and it was just a joy to coach this lad because he got so much from it. All he wanted to do was play. I've already mentioned there wasn't an age group above at this local rugby club. He was a couple of months too old to play with the team that we had. So we said to the local RFU, Lancashire Rugby Union, can you just make an exception for this lad? We don't have an age group above. He's never played rugby before. He's not going to be an amazing player on the pitch. It's just a couple of months older. Can you just make an exception and let him play? All the other coaches that we would speak to were like, of course, we'd love to see him play. That'd be brilliant. RFU, the local RFU, no. The default answer is no. The flexibility is 0. The empathy and compassion for what people at the grassroots level are trying to do to grow the game and spread the game and help people enjoy the game just wasn't there. So I would say that whilst there's problems at the very top with Bill Sweeney, the problems are systemic and filter all the way down the RFU, and the people that are paying the cost are the people that are desperately trying to grow the game as volunteers, as coaches, as administrators, as people coming up with schemes like this, who I would definitely give them your support if you can. They're doing great work. And yeah, I think what I just wanted to demonstrate there was it's much, much bigger than the headlines that we're getting about Bill Sweeney. Much, much bigger. And rugby changed my life. That's why I have this channel. That's why I care so deeply about it. That's why I coach and have coached coached that team for years, and why I still coach a university team in Manchester in my free time, because I absolutely love it and I want to contribute to people enjoying rugby their whole life as I have done. And it's what I'm saying, a fish rots from the head down. Yes, the top needs to be sorted, but there's issues all the way down. I would love to know your stories, your thoughts, your experiences. Help spread the video so that the word can get out there. I would love it if I would earn your subscription on the channel. I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but I hope you agree that it's relevant and important. And I'm sure there are similar stories around the UK, and I'd love to share some of those as well. So please get stuck in. I'll see you on the next video.